thing that would bridge the gap between our everyday experiences of seductions. Because there was no book out there and I loved the subject, I wanted to write it. So that's sort of how I operate.
First of all, go Bears and welcome to Texas.
What did you say?
Go Bears.
Oh, go Bears. Which Bears?
Berkeley Bears.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Could be the Chicago Bears. I don't know.
Question for you. You have an interesting background. You studied classics.
Yeah.
You worked in Hollywood. You've written these very interesting and popular books.
Yeah.
Do you have your own personal story of your road on and off, your experience on and off the road to mastery, and that primal urge that drew you through to where you are today?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know how interesting it is, but I knew as a kid that I wanted to write. I'm sort of obsessed with words and the sounds of words and all that. But I never could figure out what I should be writing, you know? So after college, I thought maybe I'd write the great American novel, but that didn't really work out. And then I got into journalism because I thought that would be a good discipline. And it was a very good discipline. But I didn't like it because you wrote something and it didn't last. People would read it and then a week later they forgot about it. And that really bothered me. I wanted something that would last. But it disciplined me. It showed me how to write in a deadline, how to edit my own writing. And then I wandered into Hollywood, thinking that in Hollywood I could have a little more freedom and create something a little bigger. But then I realized that you had no power in Hollywood. You wrote something and then 9 other people would gang tackle you and change it, and you were just a peon, and you had no control. And I wanted control. And so I wasn't happy. And I was 36 years old or something like that. My parents were beginning to get a little worried about me. And and I was in Italy on this weird project, and I met this man, Joost Elfers, who was a book packager, and we were both kind of a little bit unhappy with this project that we were invited to in Italy. We were walking along the quays of Venice, Italy, and he said in his Dutch accent, which I won't imitate, "Do you have any ideas for books?" And it was sort of that Michael Faraday moment or whatever on my own small level where I realized, wow, yeah, books would be it. It would be something that would last more than a week, and I would have complete power and control. Nobody could meddle with me. This was what I was destined to do. And I improvised an idea that turned into the 48 Laws of Power. I told him that I knew this Machiavelli is this sort of timeless spirit. What we're experiencing here in Italy is something that people experienced 500 years ago in Florence. And then I told him the story of Nicolas Fouquet, which ended up being the first story in 48 Laws of Power, Never Outshine the Master. Anyway, the lesson here was I was ready for this moment. I was desperate. I had accumulated all this knowledge and experience, and when that opportunity came, I seized it with everything I had. And now my mother and my father, God rest him, they don't feel like I'm such a loser, so it had a happy ending, Yeah.
During the process of constructing these books, was there someone that you interviewed that you hold as a person?
You mean in my new book? Because the other books are mostly dead people, And I felt like I've interviewed them. I felt like I interviewed Napoleon Bonaparte. 50 was great. 50 was really the first person that I ever did that to. I had just come off writing the 33 Strategies of War, and I'd spent a lot of time with Napoleon Bonaparte. And that means thousands of pages of books, of material on him. I really felt like I knew him. But now I had the chance to meet a real life Napoleon Bonaparte. I call 50 the Napoleon Bonaparte of hip hop. He's like the embodiment of the 48 Laws of Power. And it was so exciting to meet him. And he's such a great guy and so personable. And I learned a lot from him. But that was probably the most exciting, because I was around him for about 6 months. I was attached to his hip. I had the most bizarre, surreal experiences, this kind of nerdy white guy, you know, middle-class guy from LA, hanging out in some pretty strange places. I don't think anything could equal that. Because the other guys people I interviewed for the new book, I was with them for a couple of days, and they were fun and interesting. But nothing like the trip that 50 took me on. So that would probably be my personal favorite. Yeah.
Can you expand on Suffer Fools Gladly?
Well, you know, there's a phrase in the Bible that's become kind of an expression called "suffer fools gladly," and somehow in our modern world it got totally inverted, which is something that kind of bothers me. The original expression meant that you're constantly surrounded by fools. Half the world are fools, or whatever the percentage is. And maybe you're a bit of a fool. And what you need to do is you need to suffer. You need to be able to put up with fools and laugh at them and not take them seriously. That's what it means in the Bible, and that's the wisdom in the Bible. And then somehow it got turned around in modern times where it seems to be a virtue that you don't suffer fools gladly, that you don't put up with them, that you get angry about them, that you confront them, that you try to change them, and on and on and on and on and on. And the idea that I try to say, it's part of my chapter on social intelligence, which is I'm trying to tell you that you're not going to be a master in this world unless you know how to get along with people. We're social animals. You can't just be a nerd, a tech guy that has no contact with people. You have to learn how to be with people and be socially intelligent, and it's actually a beautiful form of intelligence. And one of the aspects is to learn how to suffer fools gladly. And I tell you what I think a fool is. A fool is somebody that doesn't have the right kind of sense of priorities in life. They magnify the little things that we should just not worry about into some huge dramatic thing. And the huge dramatic things they completely ignore. They have no sense of proportion, and we encounter them every day in our lives. And in fact, we encounter a bit of them in ourselves. We all have a foolish side. So let's all be patient with fools. If you try and change them or fight them, you're only going to waste valuable time and energy in your short life. Learn to laugh at them, learn to know it's part of the human comedy. I find that that's going to save you energy in the end. And I have stories in there of how not only do you suffer fools gladly, but you turn it around to an advantage. So I have a story in there of Daniel Everett, who's a great kind of anthropologist and linguist. And he came out with a radical new theory on linguistics, and suddenly he finds himself being attacked by everyone in the field, but they're attacking him in this ad hominem manner, as if he's a charlatan. They're not attacking his ideas, and it's driving him crazy, and now he's dealing with fools. And he decides that what he's going to do is he's going to turn it to his advantage. He's going to make sure now, from now on, that anything he presents in a book or a lecture is airtight. They would usually pinpoint one little small thing in something he said that could be inconsistent and say, therefore, your whole theory is wrong. Okay, from now on, I'm not going to make anything inconsistent. So he took the foolish aspect of these attacks and he decided it would make him stronger and it would make his ideas stronger. That's what Suffer Fools Gladly is about, and I have other examples there in the book.
I think we have time for one last question. Maybe not.
Do you find that your 48 Laws of Power is used in any specific category, albeit maybe business schools, specific business schools, or corporate CEOs, or is there any specific target, well, I wouldn't say target market, but just market segment that you're finding is reaching out to that book and leveraging?
Well, as somebody pointed out earlier from my Wikipedia page, it's the most requested book in prisons. But I don't want you to focus on that. And there are probably some CEOs who are in prison who've used the book. A lot of business people, a lot of Wall Street people, obviously, and a lot of Hollywood agents. That's sort of a natural fit. The hip hop people, you know. But it's funny because I've been now it's 14 years. The book's been out, almost 15. I get emails from all kinds of people. And so I get emails from a woman who works in the art grant profession, and she's telling me what an incredibly Machiavellian environment the art grant world is, and how people are reading up on the 48 laws of power to help them in that environment. And then I get some email from an actor telling me, how she's using the book for that environment, or on and on and on. So, and now I'm invited, it's used a lot now in universities. Bentley University, I'm going to be over there in the fall. It's a very prestigious, mostly business school in Massachusetts. They have a leadership class, and they use the 48 Laws of Power as a textbook. I'm going to be going over there in the fall and helping them with one of their classes. It's been used as a textbook in quite a few universities, including USC, Marshall School of Business, etc. So it's pretty broad, and a lot of athletes. I've been approached by NBA players. You mentioned Lamar Odom, etc. So I don't know, man. I don't know where I would draw the line. I think it sort of transcends all of that, hopefully. Oh, thank you. So what's next?
Robert mentioned to me before the talk started this evening that he once spoke recently at a church.
Yes.
at the big minister's podium.
The pulpit, yes.
The pulpit, and I think that you're quite a natural fit for the pulpit. So,
Thank you.
Robert, thank you for being here this evening. We're going to let Robert get set up over here. He's happy to sign his book. We have books for sale out in the pre-function area, so thanks again for coming this evening.
Yeah.